Hey, everybody, and welcome to the John DeVito Show. I hope everyone's having a good day today. It is a Sunday, and I like to, on Sundays and sometimes on Mondays, do shows that might help out people, help out the greater good, and do things that make a difference in people's lives. So I was thinking a lot about the complex society that we live in right now. And I think over the last, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years, things have become very hard for men. And I know that there are going to be people out there that don't have a lot of sympathy for men, but things have changed. I mean, you go back into the 1950s, and men were expected to be the providers, they were the hunters, and that was their role in society. And as things have changed over the last several years, we've seen women becoming independent, which is a wonderful thing. Women are out earning money, they're making their own money, they can pay for themselves. They don't need men as much to provide for them anymore. So also you see sometimes an attack on the things that were valued in the years past, where men were considered to be masculine, macho, whatever words you want to use to describe men, alpha men, however you want to say it. But I think as time has happened, it's become more taboo almost for men to exhibit that masculinity. And you hear things like toxic masculinity being thrown around. And I think in a lot of cases, it's unfair to label any type of masculinity toxic because, granted, there are toxic men in this society. However, masculinity, true masculinity, does not represent toxicity. The people that are toxic are the men that are abusive, whether it's verbally or physically. They are the men that are not taking care of their spouses, their families. They're not living the way they should live. And abusive men are not should never be confused as being masculine men because abusive men are toxic. Real masculinity, in my opinion, is a man that is not intimidated by a successful woman. It is, again, a man that's not intimidated by an independent woman. It's a man that, when things are difficult, they stand by their spouse, they stand by their family. When life is difficult, they dig their heels in and they continue to move forward. That is what masculinity is about, and that is what a real man is about. He is there in his life for the people that care about him. So, with everything being so much more complex for men today, I figured I would come up with maybe some strategies to be a better man starting today. And I'm not saying that everyone here needs to be a better man, and I'm not saying I am perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I have to work on this like everybody else that listens. And if you're a woman that is listening to this show, maybe it'll give you some ideas as to what type of man you should be looking for if you've had a history of maybe going for these toxic men. Because I think sometimes women shy away from the more masculine men, assuming that they're going to be, you know, toxic. But really, masculine men are not toxic. It's the ones that are little beta men who are trying to be masculine are the ones that are threatened by women and threatened by any challenges to who they are as a person. Those are the ones that end up being abusive men. Real men don't do that. And I think those are the men that you need to look for. So, anyway, without further ado, let's get into this list. I want to talk about it, and there are literally 50 ways. So, I'm going to go through these relatively quickly. I'm probably not going to talk about all of them. I'll just touch on some of the ones that I feel are important. Otherwise, this will be a super long podcast. So, number one, this is pretty self explanatory. Leave your excuses in the trash, leave them at the door. Excuses don't help anybody. If you are constantly making excuses for the things you failed at or the things you haven't done, there's only one person that can fix that. It's you. So if you've done something incorrectly, if you've made a bad decision, accept it and move on. No excuses for men or really for anybody. Number two, start sticking to a schedule. It's important to have a schedule. If your schedule is you wake up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you play video games all day, and then you start drinking at 6 o'clock at night, and that's your plan, and you rinse and repeat the next day, probably not a good way to move forward as really becoming a man. So you need to set a schedule, make sure that if you have a job, you're on time, you're working hard, you're doing your thing. And if you don't have a job, then you need to come up with a plan to get a good paying job, and you need to have a schedule, because it's not even just about the money. It's about your own self-esteem as a man, to make sure that you are going out and you are working hard, because I firmly believe that working hard and sticking to a schedule is very, very important for a man, and again, for really anybody. All right. Number three, find your purpose. This is something a lot of men struggle with. I know I have for many years, but literally, a man without a purpose is like a fish without fins. You're not going to float, and you're going to be fish food soon enough. So make sure you find out what your purpose is. Listen to your heart. Listen to that little voice inside of you. Find out what your purpose is, what you really want to do, and what you really want to be. Set up a plan and then go after it. And don't take no for an answer. Just be disciplined, be consistent, come up with a plan, and work that plan. So it's important for you. I'm not saying it has to be done right away, but it's important for all of us to find our purpose and then go after that purpose. And hopefully, it's a purpose that can make a difference for other people as well. All right, moving forward on the list, and I think that was really a good one. Fund your dreams. Now, this is a good one too, but you have to be careful of this one. If you don't have money, a lot of times plans will run dry. They're just not going to work, because a lot of times you're going to need plans to fund your dreams. I think a lot of times of actors who end up working as waitresses and waiters to fund their dreams. And if you have a job that you have to work to make ends meet, I mean, if you have a family, obviously you have responsibilities. Make sure you're saving some money and you're doing things that you need to do on the side if you have to, in order to chase a dream. It's important in every aspect of your life to have dreams, and make sure you've got the money and the funds to pursue those dreams in the right way. All right, number five on the list. Stop being so damn nice, right? Being overly nice is a good thing in some ways, but it's also a trap. You start to feel that we deserve something good because we're so pleasant and agreeable. And what happens a lot of times is, if you're too nice all the time, people are going to be taking advantage of you. And also, I think you start depending on the approval and good feelings of others. There are people out there that are not going to like you no matter what you do, and that's okay. As I like to say, sometimes the trash takes itself out. So you don't have to be nice all the time. Be nice, but don't be afraid to stand up for yourself when you need to, because people are just going to take advantage of you and they're not going to appreciate you. Number six, get your love life sorted out. It's true. And I think this is important for men, women, whoever. And I think most of this list is appropriate for either gender. But as far as the love life, you have to make sure that you're in your relationship for the right reason. I mean, it's great to be attracted to something that's shiny and new, but you also have to make sure that the inside of this person matches the outside. It's great to find someone that's physically appealing, but if you don't have something in common, and you don't find a person with a good heart, and you don't find a person that shares the same values that you do, then it's going to be a short-lived relationship. You really need to look past the external beauty of a person, and of course you have to be attracted to them, but you have to have more in common than just that, because in time, as you get older, your looks will fade. You're not always going to be the 22-year-old, ripped, handsome guy, or the 22-year-old model. You're eventually going to get older. We all do, and you have to make sure you have something in common. And if you're in a toxic relationship, for whatever reason, it could be just you and your partner are not the right match for each other, end it. You both deserve that, and you deserve better. So there's a lot to this. All right, number seven, and this is something that I think is important. I talked about this in a show about shaking the winter blues. Start working out. And I've got to get back to this myself. Whether you're a small guy or a big guy, whatever you are, it feels good to get into the gym. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a gym. You can start with a light jog. You can do some sit-ups, push-ups, walk around the neighborhood. And if you decide to go to a local gym, find a place that is comfortable for you. I mean, there are some of those places that are real, musclehead type of gyms, and you may not be comfortable with that, but you could always join a YMCA, or even like a Planet Fitness, where they have, regular everyday people in there working out. And it's just, I think, picks up your mood, and it makes you feel better about yourself. I mean, you don't have to plan to be Mr. Olympia, but I think working out kind of helps you feel good about yourself. And it also, raises the testosterone levels and has a lot of health benefits for you as well. So get into a good workout regime, and that should be part of your schedule, as we talked about earlier. Now, part of the fitness kick is eating well. So number 8 is eating well, especially these days, with our fast-paced lives, tech-centered, it can be really difficult to focus on eating well. It's really easy to order fast food, stop and get fast food, but learn how to cook a few things, try to eat some healthy food, and make sure you're having foods that are high in protein, lower in carbohydrates and fat. And I think that eating well and getting your body in better shape isn't just about the physical part of it, but it's about emotionally feeling better inside as well. Number 9, improving your communication skills. Now, if you're a man that dates women, I think a lot of women feel that men do not communicate well, and it's true. A lot of us keep things inside, and I think we just expect women and whoever to know what we're thinking. And people in general are not mind readers, so I think it's important for us to communicate when we're having feelings. Men tend to internalize things, and then all of a sudden you blow up after you're frustrated and you're keeping it inside. But you have to pay attention of how you speak. You have to pay attention to the words you use. You have to be mindful of other people and really make an effort of looking in people's eyes when you speak to them. And I think it's also helpful to be, decent to people when you talk to them. I mean, to be insulting people and making comments where people feel like you're criticizing them is not a good thing. So I think working on communication skills, being more open to communicate, I think is really good for all of us. All right, number 10, make friends with discomfort. It's true. I think a lot of people embrace pleasure and they try to avoid pain. But I think if you're going to grow in your life, you've got to seek out some of the things that maybe cause you a little pain. And it's, some of those things are like making mistakes in life. If you don't ever take on challenges that you're afraid of, sometimes you're going to fail. But if you don't ever take them on, then you're not really trying. And I think you're just avoiding displeasure. But I think you have to be willing sometimes to fail in life in order to succeed. And I mean, what's life worth if you're not going to at least go out and live your life and try to do things? So I think that sometimes you have to get out of that comfort zone. All right, number 11, this is very, very important. Have an actionable life plan. Now, you can write out goals, and I would start with a few goals, maybe 2 or 3. You don't want it to be too daunting of a list, but have a couple of goals, create an action plan, and have an action plan for your life. Your action plan for your career, your action plan for your romantic life, your action plan as a parent. And I think it's really good to plan what your end goals are, but then come up with a plan with lead measures that you could follow and try to track to make sure that you are staying consistent with your plan. Because I think it's important for us to all have a plan, or we end up kind of all of us just like aimlessly wandering through. But make sure that if you are planning, you're not just writing on a plan and then putting it away and never looking at it. It's good to have someone, maybe a friend, be your check-in buddy to make sure that you're kind of following through on your plans. Alrighty, number 12, learn how to cook. This is something I still have to work on. But being a man that knows how to cook, it's good that if you can cook occasionally your family, it helps you eat healthier, and it's something you can even do with a partner, if you have one. So learning to cook, I think, is a really good one that I need to certainly work on. Number 13, also learn more practical skills. This is another challenge for me, but really men should know how to change a tire. You should know basic mechanics, basic electrical circuitry, beginning plumbing, learning basic outdoor skills, things like that, where, it's things you can focus on. And really all of us, not just men, but women as well, should learn some of these basic practical skills. So if you're in a difficult situation, you can do certain things to kind of bail yourself out as opposed to being reliant on other people. And as I said, this is something I definitely need work on because I am not handy at all. I can do a few of these things, though. I can change a tire. I can do some very basic mechanical things. As far as plumbing, probably not so much. Electrical circuitry, not so much. But outdoor survival skills, I'm pretty good at that. So I've got a few things on that list checked off, but there are a few areas I can certainly improve on. Number 14, this never worked for me, but taking up a musical instrument, it's a great hobby to have. And what's better than a guy that can play a guitar or maybe the piano or like a saxophone? Both of my grandparents were musicians, my grandfathers, and they were both saxophone players. I tried to play it, it just wasn't for me. Also tried to play the guitar, but I have to say I don't think I put enough of an effort into it as I probably should have. So if you have the inclination, take up a musical instrument and dedicate yourself to that, because I think it's a cool thing to know. And it's pretty cool if you could be in a gathering and you could hop on the piano and start playing. That's just pretty sweet, I think. So number 15, think more about others, kind of being mindful of other people. It's healthy and smart to consider other people, not just yourself. Now, you don't want to do this to the point where other people are more important than you are, because you have to focus on yourself as well. But I think you have to consider other people's feelings and other people, what's important to them when you're making decisions. So I think being a better man is not just doing everything for yourself, but also doing small gestures for other people and small random acts of kindness to make the world a better place. I think that that is a really good thing for men to. All right. So 16 also is voluntarily taking responsibility for something big, whether this is at work, with a friend group, in your relationship. Don't always put off the responsibility to other people. Sometimes it's important for you to take a bull by the horn and really trying to get things moving in the right direction. Like having a family is a great example. Maybe starting a business, doing something to maybe, I don't know, organize money for charity, like your children's charity or whatever charity you might be interested in. One of the charities I've always worked on, a couple of them, but one is the Muscular Dystrophy Association, because I had family members that suffered from that horrible disease. And then also recently, because my father's battled with Alzheimer's, I've been also doing that. So take the lead in some things. I think it's important, and it'll make you definitely develop more as a man. Number 17, help others develop their talents and gifts. Be a mentor, be a coach. Being a good man means helping other people attain their greatness also. Believe that there's abundance in life, and share some of the life lessons you've had with maybe people that are younger than you, or maybe even the same age as older, that are maybe less developed than you are. I think it's an important thing to do. 18, double down on honesty. This needs to be a staple of every man. Honesty is where it's at. You need to be a brave man. You need to be a strong man. Strong men don't lie. They tell the truth. And again, within reason. If your wife says, "How do I look in this dress?" and it doesn't look great, and you tell her she looks fat, then that might not be the type of honesty that I'm talking about, because you'll end up sleeping on the couch or maybe at the local Motel 6 for a week. But I think it's important to be honest, be upfront, and be a person that has integrity. And I think that that is something that's super, super important. So I love the idea of being honest. Number 19, when it comes to honesty, you also have to never lie to yourself. You have to know where things are at. You have to understand that it's important for you to be honest with yourself and be willing to make changes when you need. And I think it's good to have like a self-assessment sometimes of yourself to determine if you're on the right path or not. Oh, number 20. All right, I'm going to leave this one pretty quickly. Quit porn and sexting. So if you're spending all day on Pornhub, it might be a time to try something different and maybe live in reality for a while. All right, so we're going to move past that one quickly. Number 21, avoid excess smoking, drinking, and drugs. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I do occasionally do the edibles for the marijuana because it helps relax me. But you don't want to be a person that's dependent on all these exterior things. You want to be a healthy person. Smoking, as we all know, is a horrible addiction. It's not a habit, it's addiction. Drinking also can ruin lives, and drugs as well. Do not even get on this road. Stay away from it. And if you've already gone down this road, get help and fix it, because it's no way to be a man, and we have to avoid those things. Number 22, seeking out a spiritual path. I agree completely. I was away from church for about 15 years. I went back about 2 years ago. It's the best thing I've ever done. I feel loved. I feel more grounded. I feel more centered. I'm so happy that I've gone back to church, and I'm now having a spiritual relationship with God. And I think that's important for all of us. So again, I'm not going to lecture you to go back today, but if you're away from church, I think you're going to find sometimes that your life maybe spirals out of control sometimes. So, at least think about it, consider it, and when the time is right for you, maybe consider getting back with God in however way you find is appropriate. All right, number 23, minimize how often you complain. I don't like complainers. Complainers, whiners, get rid of it. Real men don't complain. You figure out a solution and just stop the complaining. We don't need to talk too much about that one. Care more for your parents and your kids is number 24. Your parents are only going to be here for a certain amount of time, and your kids are going to grow up before you know it. Spend time with both of them. Spend time with your mom and dad. Go fishing with your father. Have dinner with your mother. And if your kids are asking you to go out and play catch in the backyard, even if you're busy at work, go out and play catch. Because before you know it, they're going to be off in college, they're going to be off married, they're going to have their own families, and you're going to be sitting home alone on a big pile of money. But really, in the end, what does the big pile of money matter if you don't spend time with the people that you love? So definitely that's an important one. Number 25, challenge yourself every day. I mean, face it, we all need a day where we sit on the couch and binge watch Netflix. But I think it's important to challenge yourself daily to be a better professional, to be a better husband, to be a better father, to be a better man, to be a better person. And I think it's really important to strategically plan and challenge yourself daily, weekly, monthly to be a better person. Number 26 is know when to rest and relax. You cannot work 24/7. It's important to sharpen the saw, to replenish ourselves, and make sure that you are not burning the candle at both ends all the time. You need your time of rest. You need your time with friends and family, and do not pass that over because it's very important and vital, I think, for our health and for our happiness. Number 27, becoming more ambitious. You know, the idea of Bart Simpson being the underachiever in life, that's a great thing for a cartoon, but in real life, it's not a good thing. As far as we know, we only go through this life one time. Be ambitious in whatever you do. If you choose a job, whether you're a custodian, a garbage collector, or a doctor, go after your career with 100%. Give it your best. And same thing with your family, with your wife, with your husband, with your children. Be ambitious and make yourself the best that you can be. That's how I look at ambition. So it's an important thing to be, I think, and it gives you purpose in life. 28, compare yourself today to yourself of yesterday. I do this a lot. I think of what a dumbass I was when I was 25 years old compared to what I am today. I've grown a lot. And I think about what it's going to be like 20 years from now, where I'm going to look back on this version of myself and probably laugh a little bit. So definitely take some time and look at the improvements you've made in your life. Or in some cases, maybe you haven't improved, you've digressed. So look at yourself from the past, compare yourself to today, and assess where you can make changes to continue moving forward as a person and as a man. 29, know what to put a price on and what not to. Everything in the world seems to have a price, but the best things do not. Things like family, love, friendship, faith, and time. Value and treasure those things, for they are gifts beyond measure, and unfortunately, most times they are finite. So enjoy them, and that is the true worth in life. And the older I get, the more I realize that. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Becoming a better man includes being sharp and not easy to manipulate. Yet at the same time, you want to be the kind of person who is easy to approach and not overly suspicious. Give people the benefit of the doubt, at least the first time. But again, that old saying, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You don't want to be a sucker, but if something happens, give people the benefit of the doubt and hoping it was a one-time lapse in judgment. Number 31, build things that last. Weak men who are often forgotten waste their lives in drama, arguing, jealousy, insecurity, and complaining. Strong men who are loved and remembered build things that last. And that is families, companies, buildings, bridges, nations, philosophies, work of art, poetry. These men put their all into work, and these are things that last. They're things that people respect and things that people remember. Be a man. Be a man. Be a man that other people can look up to. And I think that you will not only be happy with yourself, but you're going to influence other people to be the right type of person as well. Number 32, listen more than you talk. This is so huge. And when I'm on my podcast, all I do is talk. But I like to try to listen 75% of the time and talk 25% of the time. Becoming a better man often has a lot to do with listening more. And let's face it, men, we don't always listen as well as we should. Our instinct as men is sometimes to talk and give our opinion whenever possible. Sometimes in relationships, we like to try to fix things. When women aren't looking for us to fix it, they just want us to listen. Try holding back and see what happens. Listen. Don't try to solve every problem. You might find it makes others respect you and appreciate you more because sometimes people just need to vent and they want you to listen. Fixing the problem sometimes is just an annoyance, even though you think you're helping. Number 33, develop more self-discipline. Discipline is the mark of a man. We may have all sorts of ideas and objectives, but without discipline, they tend to wither on the vine and die. Hold yourself to a higher standard. you'll thank yourself for it, and you will also uh, have others that interact with you more so because of it. So be disciplined. You have to be a disciplined person. I mean, you can have some flexibility in your schedule. You don't want to be too rigid. But in life, to achieve anything, whether it's a good family, a good relationship, a successful career, anything, you have to be a disciplined person. Line up your thoughts with your actions is number 34. Successful men do one thing consistently: they line up their thoughts and actions. They think something through and they do it. They never stay lost in thought or blundering around about acting without thinking first. Line them both up. Number 35, keep your expectations low. Yes and no on this one. Expectations are the devil's playthings. Keep them low, and there's less to mess with. Plus, if your expectations are low, the only direction is to go up. I guess it's true where if your expectations are too high on yourself, on your children, on your wife, on your family, on your job, on your company, then probably most times you're going to be pressing too much. You're going to be unhappy, and you are going to be probably a lot of times let down. So at first I wasn't sure about that one, but the more I think about it, I do kind of like it. Number 36, develop patience. Patience is important. At least enough of it to read through the end of this read to this podcast, to listen to the end of this podcast, please. Patience will take you a long way. Men have patience. Boys fidget and lose focus. Remember that. So you got to develop patience. Develop patience with your relationship and your job, with your family. People make mistakes, and you have to be patient and understanding. Give genuine compliments frequently. Don't blow smoke up people's backsides, but giving out genuine compliments without expecting anything back is a wonderful hallmark of a good man. Do your best to do this. Try it out a few times and see what reactions you get. Many people feel invisible and they love to know what they are not. So definitely, if you're seeing something nice about someone, give them a nice little compliment, something sincere, not something creepy, but say something nice to someone. Not hey lady, you look good in that skirt. Those it really shows off your legs. That's not what I'm talking about. But like for instance, I went to a high school play last night, and the young lady that played the witch in The Wizard of Oz was phenomenal. Beautiful singing voice, did a great job acting. On the way out the door, I saw her with her family, and I just stopped very quickly. And I said, "Excuse me." I gave her a little fist bump, and I said, "You absolutely killed it tonight." And she was so appreciative, and I really meant it because I thought she was amazing. Such a young lady to be so talented. It was really awe-inspiring to see it, and I'm sure that that compliment probably meant a lot to her. And I think it's important to sometimes share those little compliments with people. So, number 38, travel. It's important to travel even if it's close to home. But if you do get the opportunity at some point, travel overseas. It opens up your perspective on life in our country, and it definitely helps you grow as a person. So, traveling, I think, is important, whether it's in the U.S. or in other countries, but get out there and see the world. We're only here once. Get out and enjoy it, and I think you grow as a person as well. Number 39, practice what you preach. If I sit here all day talking about being a better man, but I am the exact opposite of that in my real life, what does that do for me and my family? If you want to be a better man, practice what you preach. It's a real challenge some days. Start by preaching less and doing more. Once your actions speak louder than your words, you're well on your way. So definitely be an example, be a role model, be a mentor. And if you're preaching certain things and you're saying that things should be a certain way, make sure you're backing it up and not just, talking the talk. You got to walk the walk as well. Number 40, appreciate the finer things in life. Being a better man is also about appreciating the good things in life. A delicious meal, a sunrise with a hot mug of coffee, a shirt that fits just right. And I'm talking about simple things. It doesn't have to be expensive things. But I think appreciating just, a walk at the beach, a day with a loved one, a dinner or coffee with one of your parents. Enjoy these things. And those truly are the finer things of life. Going out and buying that new Maserati, it might look great to a bunch of people that don't matter, but in truth, the finer things in life are with people you really care about. Discover your own unique look. I do like this one a lot because every man has a look. Don't try to be like everybody else. It's so easy to fall into trends, and you can imitate from role models, things like that. But better yet, come up with your own style and rock your style. Be proud of your style. If someone doesn't like your style, who cares? If you like it, you feel you look good, rock your own style, be your own man. And I love that one. Number 42, learn a new language. I tried. I took French for 8 years. I can barely speak a darn word of it, but it is very cool to be able to speak another language. So if you are on your way or if you haven't started, personally, I would probably start with Spanish. But again, Spanish, French, Italian, whatever you think you can learn a new language. Give it a go. It's just a very cool thing to be able to do. Number 43, if you're going to be a man, you have to learn to physically defend yourself. You should never bully. If you're a big person, a strong person, a tough person, you should never bully anyone. You have to look out for the people that can't defend themselves. But if you can't defend yourself, I think it's important to learn how to defend yourself. You may end up in a situation where you have to protect yourself or protect other people, and it's good to be prepared for that. Hopefully, you never have to do it, but it's better to have that skill and never use it than to not have that skill and need it. So I think it's important to learn how to defend yourself. Number 44, learn about other cultures and philosophies. It definitely expands what type of person you are. It gives you a brighter horizon. And the more you learn and the more you experience is going to widen your perspective and make you, I think, a better, more well-read man. Be a peacemaker instead of a war bringer. That's number 45 on the list. There are a lot of people that like to always cause problems, but I don't think that benefits anybody. Instead, try to make the peace. Try to be a person that maybe intervenes in a discussion that's turning into an argument to maybe lower the temperature on both sides. That's what a real man does. A real man is not looking to cause problems. You're looking to solve problems. And I like that one. Again, a lot. These are all really good. Number 46, develop your sense of humor. Nothing better than a funny guy. If you're a father, work on those dad jokes, especially if you're about to become a father. The dad jokes are a very important part of that. But I think being funny keeps the mood light with your family, with your spouse, with your kids, and having a good sense of humor that's not directed at the expense of other people is a really good thing to have. So try to be funny. And if you're not the end of the world, but it's a good thing to have if it's part of your personality. Number 47, very important. Us men, we all have testosterone. We all have the ability to lose our temper. And when we do, sometimes it scares people. So make sure you're keeping your temper in check. People, a lot of men, I think, struggle with this. And if you're struggling with it and it's a problem, get some help. Go speak to someone because it's really, things in life are going to happen no matter what. And you are not in control of all the bad things that happen in life, but you are in control about the way you react to things. So if you have a temper, we all have it, you have to work on your reaction, take a cooling off period, and try to be a person that doesn't blow up all the time because you're going to be a real tough person to be around if that's the way you exist in this life. All right, we get a couple more on this list. There were 50 of them. I think they're all great. That's why I'm going a little bit faster today. But I think this has been a really good podcast. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. All right, number 48 on the list. Don't buy into labels too much. So true. We're so caught up in keeping up with the Joneses. You got to have your Ralph Lauren. You got to have your Coach bag. You got to have your Rolex watch. You got to drive your new Porsche or your high-end Mercedes. You know what? Labels don't matter when it comes down to it. Find clothes you like. Drive an efficient car that gets you from point A to point B. You don't have to buy things to show off to everybody because if you're doing that, it's basically a cover for insecurity. And you have to learn how to be a secure person. If you really buy something that's expensive, like, I'm a person that does like cars. If you go out and buy an expensive car, you have to make sure you're getting that car for you and not the reaction you get from other people when you pull into their driveway or you drive by and wave at them, because that's a really expensive confidence boost. I think you can find other ways to do that. So labels, they don't matter. They really don't. And hopefully you can not get drawn too much into that trap. 49, stand up for the disenfranchised and downtrodden. Good men who others look up to stand up for the weak. And that is so important. You look at soldiers, you look at police officers, firefighters. For the people that need help, there's no need to beat them down. They're already down. Help people up. It's easy to beat people down. The hard part is to grab someone by the hand and lift them up with you. And I think that is something that a real man does. So even if you're younger, if you're in high school and there's a kid that's not that popular, or some of the kids that sit alone at lunch, be a man and go sit with them. Invite them over to hang out with your friends so they're a little offbeat. Be a man and help someone that's struggling as opposed to just looking and snickering and laughing and pointing fingers, because then you're just a bully and that doesn't do any good for anybody. Okay, the last one on the list is question everything. That's one thing I've learned in my life is you cannot believe everything that's told to you. The mainstream media, the news, things like that, a lot of it is propaganda. A lot of it is lies. And I think you have to learn in life that you have to investigate things on your own. You have to use your critical thinking skills and be able to pursue the truth in life. So I'm already at 35 minutes, way over my usual time of 20 minutes. But this was a really good podcast, so I hope you don't mind this being a little bit longer. I want to wish all of you the very best. Thank you for tuning in to the John DeVito Show, and I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday and a great week coming up. Take care and have a great day.